Alright guys, it is Peter or Mask of Momentum here, and today we're going to go over my Calling Dallas deck and what I will be playing for the ProQuest season and my thoughts going into this ProQuest season before Worlds. And then yeah, let's just get into it right now. So I think it's pretty obvious that I did bring Lexi to this tournament. Usually I'm not traditionally a Lexi enjoyer. I'm definitely not somebody that like enjoyed playing Lexi this last like 9 months of her being like probably the best deck in the format since PT3. I was somebody that like I tested it, was never like really my deck, and which is really sad because I played Ice Lexi a lot before Outsiders, and I always thought the deck was like really interesting, really fun, and I think that was like a cool tempo deck that I really liked playing, but it doesn't really feel the same as back then. But I enjoyed Lexi, and I was like, hey, I should at least play it one time before LLs. I always want to play Hero at least one time before LLs. So here, this was our Lexi deck for this. I did a lot of asking questions for a lot of like the different pro players of like what they were playing and like why, like ideas from them, and like kind of created what I liked from a lot of lists and what ideas that they had from. So it's a lot of it's like kind of a melting pot from like a lot of different decks with not like a clear direction, but a lot of good cards that go well together, that has a lot of like basis to it. So we'll just start with the equipment here. Obviously just have like the regular setup of, you know, the Tunic, Hornet Sting, New Horizons, Snapdragon Scalers with like the Quiver and Voltaire. And then I went with the Trench, Perch Grappler, Shock Charmers this weekend. I know a lot of people were playing like Goliath Gauntlet or something else for the arm slots for like specific matchups. Wasn't really a fan of it, didn't really do a lot of testing with it, just didn't feel like it was better than Hornet Sting a lot of the time, because I do like blocking a lot more. And then Perch Grapplers, I liked it a lot in the mirror, and then for Bravo especially to get the on-hit effects out of the way, and that is something that I think I would always play in the mirror for Perch Grapplers. And then Shock Charmers was like my hedge for Kano. I'm just only playing AB1 plus Shock Charmers to bring this in versus Icelander and Kano this weekend. Didn't really expect too much of it going into it, but thinking back on this tournament of what I played and what I saw in the meta, I kind of regret not playing one of the two wizards and playing Lexi. But I think Lexi obviously is always going to be a great pick, but I think if you really wanted to snipe them out, I would have played one of the wizards this weekend, and it was pretty sad that I wasn't one of those people playing them. But I'll go into the deck list here. I'll just go a little bit into it and like why I wanted to play certain cards. Obviously, something that's like quite noticeable is not playing Yellow Bolt and Shot. I originally, when I heard that people were playing Yellow Bolt and Shot in a lot of like team decks, I was like, that's kind of crazy, because like 9 Bolt and Shot is usually like you always play 9 Bolt and Shot just because it's just like such a good card, and like especially on 3 kind turns. But besides 3 of a kind turns, I honestly think Yellow Bolt and Shot is just a strictly worse arrow than like pretty much everything else in the deck, and it doesn't have that much utility besides the 3 of a kind turns. And it just wasn't. It was something that after I cut in and I played like 10 plus games of it, I was like, you know, this kind of makes sense. So just with the 6 Bolt and Shots, the red and the blue ones, got that Drill Shot in there, Endless, Falcon Wing, Heat Seeker, Infecting Shot, Remorseless, Searing Shot is like the usual suspects. Going through the full three Remorseless, because I did believe that people were going to play more of a aggro Dromai and aggro like decks moving forward, like any of the ninjas here, and I definitely think that Remorseless was really good this weekend, especially at that 3-up slot. I decided to play 3 Ice Quakes main this weekend. Usually a lot of them play 2. I've always thought Ice Quake was just like one of the best cards in Lexi, especially with this like the non-fuse version, and I'm just gonna max out on 3 Ice Quakes because I think, especially playing mirrors or playing against any of the Dromai lists, I think just playing all these ice cards that can significantly hurt their turn is just incredibly better than the other pumps. Especially in the other pumps, I ran 2 Premeditates. I've not really been a Premeditate kind of guy. I've never really thought like that card, like this buff specifically, is like one of the better ones. So I only ran a 2 of this, and I can definitely see you running 3 or 0. 3, 2, or 0 on this card. Just not, I think it was pretty good this weekend, but I could definitely see cutting these 2 premeditates for like just more arrows or more any of the other tech cards you like running in Lexi specifically. But I think the ponder's really good, but there was a lot of times I had like multiple ponders and other stuff, and I was just like, this could have been something else. Going in the senior shot, obviously the power cards, 3 of a kind, Codex of Frailty, just some of the best cards in the game. I decided to go with 2 Codex of Inertia this weekend. I was on 3 for a long time. I was on 0, and then I was on 3 because after I saw Brody's list from when he from his top 8 calling list from Taipei, he was playing 3, and then or he was either playing 3 or 2, I forgot. And then I saw some people playing 2, and then I tried it with 2, and I realized that like I think 2 is probably the correct number. I do like the inertia tokens, especially for like Icelander and a lot of these other decks, and I think just having I think codexes are just so good in this meta over where you just go like, if you have a 1 cost arrow, 0 cost arrow, and then play codex in the end, like those 4 card hands are just on rate better than pretty much every other 4 card hand in like any other character, and it's just pretty good. Plus, if you ever get your opponent to discard randomly when they're like trying to keep they like block with 2 cards, they keep 2 cards to come at with you, and then you just play a codex, and their entire turn is just like destroyed. It's just so good. Rain Razors, obviously, they're one of the best cards in the game. And then I have some pretty interesting blue suites here. So I got the 3 blue Bolton shots, 3 drill shots, 3 searing shots for like the normal 9. And then I wanted to play 17 this weekend because I think 17 is the correct number personally. And then I went with 3 blue Winter's Bite and then 2 blue Cold Snap. The Cold Snap was something that came out in like Taipei that I was like pretty interesting about. And it's pretty good in the mirror, pretty good like when you know your opponent really wants to set up a certain card in their arsenal, and just sometimes you can bait them into paying the 1, and it's really good for you. It's just another ice card as well to flip up from Lexi, and it gives you a little bit of just like more, I think having more ice cards is always good, I would say. And then I have 3 blue Widowmakers. Widowmakers is like one of those cards where, dude, people were playing this, and I was like, there's no way this is good, right? And then I got convinced instantly by my boy Evan when he was talking about it, and I was like, alright, I have to find 3 blue Widowmakers somehow. Just like, obviously defense directions can't be played on like Widowmaker's Chain Link, but the real text is that if it's defended by less than 2 cards, it has +3. Like, obviously it can be blocked by equipment and then get like the free there, but the Widowmaker kills every single dragon and Dromai in the game, so I didn't expect everybody to play Tome this weekend. I thought Tome was a really great card in Dromai, but I think versus every, like 90% of Dromai lists, this blue Widowmaker killing every single dragon in the game is just absolutely insane, and I think it's really good. Also, there's like a lot of matchups, like especially the Lexi mirror, to where it's like they have like, they're trying to set up a 6-card hand, every other equipment is like blocked already or used, and then you come in with like Widowmaker for 5, and it's like, okay, you're gonna double block my Widowmaker when you're at like 4, or are you giving me your New Horizons and then taking a card from your arsenal, right? Like, I think blue Widowmaker has a lot of value in a lot of matchups as well, especially aggro matchups where, yeah, they don't want to block this card at all, so it's pretty good. And then I got some just like a suite of arrows and some tech choices here. Written 2 Arctic this weekend. I'm gonna be honest with you, I think I played Arctic in 1 matchup the entire weekend, and it wasn't even like that good. It was obviously good, but it wasn't even that good. And it was kind of disappointing because I think for the meta, I think Arctic and what I faced, I don't think Arctic was good this weekend, but I did think that there was going to be a lot more ninjas trying to snipe the Dromais and like be fine against the Lexis and try to flip that matchup, but there just really wasn't. I only played 1 Katsu throughout the weekend, and going back on it, maybe I think still having Arctic in the list were fine because I don't play him in the mirror, but if I probably would have moved to like maybe a 1-of copy if I had to go back. But and then for our 6-star slot, this is actually incorrect here. I played 3 Command and Conquerors and 2 Battering Bolts this weekend. I maxed out on the Command and Conquerors like literally the night before, so I didn't update this list, but yeah, I had 3 Command and Conquerors and then 2 Battering Bolts this weekend. Just think it's one of those, I think Command and Conquer were just like so incredibly good this weekend, and just playing Codex of Frailty with like 1 resource using Tunic and then like Command and Conquering them when they put a card, when they discard a card to Codex, is just like such an unbelievable like blowout. It's insane. So yeah, maxed out on Command and Conquer because I just think I also played all three of them in the mirrors. I had a pretty interesting like mirror board that I was going like above 60 cards because a lot of the times it does go to like this weird fatigue, and but I just like Command and Conquer, especially in this metagame where I think 5 poppers is pretty good. I didn't play Lightning Press this weekend, and I think it was wrong to not play Lightning Press, but I decided to go with the Arctics instead. If I had to go back, I probably would have cut a number of like Hamstring Fatigue and Arctics to try to fit like 2, yeah, I'd probably say around 2 Lightning Press in here. Actually, I could have cut these pre-meds and added Lightning Press. That's probably what I would do. Then there's 3 fatigue shots in here. I did think a decent amount of Bravo was going to come up. I was hearing a lot of people trying to fatigue on Bravo, and especially because Dromai is coming back, people do think that is a good matchup. Although I am a little indifferent if it's if Bravo is a good matchup into Dromai at this point, especially with people understanding how to play the matchup from the Dromai side a lot better than usual. But 3 fatigue shots, so because I heard the rumblings of Bravo coming, so I played the fatigue shots. And then I had 2 hamstring shots. I just think hamstring shot is just really good in so many different matchups, and I would always want to play it. And then 2 tar pip traps for, of course, for the mirror, and then some light on hit effects versus a lot of the other people in the meta. But yeah, that's basically what the list is. Pretty little basic Lexi list, but it is a little tact for what I like playing and what I thought was good for this weekend. And going into this Dallas Fort Worth, I'll talk about my experience and my tournament report basically. So I did think it was really fun. I flew in on Friday. Was talking to Evan and got some lunch with like Nick Butcher, Aaron Chance, and people, and I was just like hanging out. It was really cool. Evan's a really nice guy. I think that guy will go far in this game as well. So I think obviously having a good time on Friday. Had to wait. My friend Sean was getting in at 1 a.m. So I had a lot of time to kill, and we were trying to get a draft going. Didn't end up getting a draft going because just couldn't find enough people to enough high level people to draft at the end of the day. So we all just decided to go test at a hotel instead. Jam some Lexi mirrors. I think it went 0-5 versus Evan at the hotel on Lexi mirrors because I was trying to learn how to play the mirror going into this weekend, and definitely did not feel great about playing the Lexi mirror going into this weekend. But it helped a lot because when I was playing the rest of my Lexi mirrors this weekend, I had a lot better of a chance and a lot better of the idea of how the matchup should be going and what to block and when to block. And I definitely thought his ideas on the mirror were definitely better than every other person's thoughts on the mirror that I've heard so far. So yeah, and going into Dallas, I started round 1, played against an Icelander. I've played a lot of the Icelander Lexi matchup from the Icelander side specifically with like Majin and other people, and man, I will say it feels so much better to be on the Lexi side and without having to like scrape and claw every single turn. And yeah, just I got that one. I just had like a double Rainrazor's turn and without like disruption, and it was just over. And then round 2, I played against Aaron Chance, actually, the great Dromai player from Toronto, I believe, somewhere in Canada. But major Dromai player, barely got it out at the end. I was like pretty close to losing that game through like the dragon value that he had. So barely got it at the end, so I got that one. Then my third round, I forgot who I played round 3. I can find myself on here really quickly. But yeah, was just going round 3. I played against Jake. Oh yeah, this is Lexi mirror. Yeah, so round 3 I played against Jake on Lexi. I hope this is the one. Yeah, this is the Lexi guy. Yeah, I played against Jake on Lexi. Played the mirror. Sat down and I was like not really didn't have a lot of enthusiasm like trying to play the mirror specifically because Evan, who actually sat next to me in this round, beat my ass the night before 5 times in a row, but actually won this mirror. I think I I got there through like just having like I had some better blocks on sometimes, and Jake was actually playing Red Arctics in the matchup, which I'm not really a fan of, but I know a lot of other people were, and I played the Red Arctic, and I had like blue yellow into 3 of a kind, and just basically took the game from there, because he like time walked himself and I still did damage 2 turns in a row, and I got there at the end. And then the round 4 I played against another Dromai. This one was just like the Dromai just like didn't have a good start, had a like full block from like turn 3 like for the rest of the game, and then ended up just having like enough time going through, and yeah, just got it. It was just like, yeah, that matchup was, that round was one of those times to where like the Lexi Dromai matchup either goes where like Lexi just like auto wins sometimes, or like Dromai gets enough value to, or tumultize you and just like gets you out, or it's like a super close game. I think me and Aaron's game was like the super close game that you get like 10% of the time in that matchup, and then that was the one where Lexi just kind of runs you over. And then I'm 4-0 in the first 4 rounds, and feeling pretty good. You know, after standings after round 4, I don't even check. Where was I in? I was in 12th place, standings after round 4. There's like 18 4-0s at this point. I'm feeling pretty good. Round 5, I get paired against another Lexi Mirror versus Andrew Lorenz, and he played it extremely well. It was a super close game. I think it came down to we were going to that like, you know, awkward like 2-2 hand type of thing in the mirror to where somebody fatigued, and I drew my last 3 of a kind, and I basically just need to draw a double arrow, and I think I loop his hand, and I only drew 1 arrow, and so I shot the arrow for another 6, and then arsenal a card, and then he blocked with like I think the last card in his hand and like the last of his armor to go to 1 exactly, and then double arrow me, and then now I'm basically getting looped with my hands at that point, and then he ended up getting it by going over with Rain Razors, I believe. Unfortunate, but still 4-1, feeling great. Going to round 6, I sit down and play against an Azuri, one of the guys from the Wolfpack. He's a great player, and I know I didn't have a lot of experience into Azuri with Lexi specifically, and I know it's already a bad matchup. Then we got deck checked, and then I was like, man, I just hate getting deck checked in major events, because it kind of like, your momentum is just dead at that point, right? So I was hiding well in the high, like lost last round, so I'm like, you know, I gotta get back into it, and then it was just like, totally stopped all the momentum there. This game was also unfortunate because I thought I shuffled enough after they came back and sorted our decks, and like we were shuffling, and I just drew like a couple quad red hands and then quad blue hand, but I don't think I was winning that game anyways. Just got kind of eviscerated from the Azuri, just like the hands lined up for him, didn't line up for me, and I was like, it just happens. And so, you know, we're 4-2. Then the last round, round 7. Round 7, I am paired against Pat. Pat, I don't know how to say this last name, Pat. We're basically playing for what I assume is whoever wins makes day 2, whoever it's like a win and in or a win and out. Basically, because I believe you had to X2 into day 2 or cut to top 64, and so I'm playing against Pat. Pretty obviously known player, pretty good. Have like first 4 or 5 turns, I'm like basically doing a lot. He's on a Bravo list that's trying to fatigue me at this point, so I brought in some extra cards, and I get to a point to where I take a card of his hand, and I decided to I take 2 cards and decide to set up a 6-card hand, because I had a Rain Razors flipped up, and he like double blocked the first arrow, and I decided to just arsenal and then keep and then draw back up to have this Rain Razors 6-card hand, and then just hopefully not get hit by like a huge crush ability, and then just like take the game over. And I drew another Rain Razors and then like 2 arrows and a blue, and I was like, oh, okay, this is just the turn to like go off basically. And then he hits me with a Starstruck, so I block for 9, take 1, and I just pass my turn with like double Rain Razors and like the arrow in my arsenal. And then I proceed to basically full block for like 4 turns, because he just has like on hit against me, and you know, then he finally swings for 4 with his hammer, because his hand's just like not good, and decides to like Arsenal like defense reaction, and I was like, oh yeah, 100%, I'll take the 4, and then I have he's at like 43, and then I take my double rain razors like quad arrow turn with quiver, and just like have this insane turn. I think he goes to like 11, and then I go to the next turn, I draw like blue double red arrow codex, which is also really good, and then he goes to like 5-6, and then I look at my deck and I have like 12 cards left, and I'm like, I am 100% getting fatigued unless he has like very specific things and he has like a decent amount of his armor left, and I end up getting fatigued, and unfortunate, started 4-0 and then to an 0-3. It was pretty disappointing. I know like I'm not really too experienced on Lexi, like at least this version, and so I didn't really expect too much going into it, but it was a little disappointing to start 4-0 and then lose a whole bunch of rounds in a row to my thought process of not making day 2 and then having to play the Battle Hardened tomorrow. And I was like kind of walking around, you know, telling bad beat stories, which I'm known for at this point, and just feeling down and just being like, ah, man, it happens. Then I was walking by, and I'm walking by somebody, and we were waiting for like the pairing, like the results for day 2 to come out, and waiting, and then somebody walked by me and was like, hey Peter, congrats on day 2. And I was like, oh no man, I was like 4-3, I lost the last 3 rounds. And he's like, no, you made it in. And I was like, bro, there's no way, like I was X3. So go to the standings on my phone, and I start scrolling down. You know, you can see like the top, you know, Merrick, and you know, Jacuzzis, you know, XO after day 1, a lot of good X1s coming down. I'm scrolling, and I'm getting, you know, pretty far there, and I look, and I see my name at 64. There was 2 X and 3s that started 4-0 and then 0-3'd that made day 2, and I was the second one and made it exactly at 64 to make it into day 2, which, you know, sometimes you're lucky and you just get it. So today it was a good day, and so had the 4-3, I made it into top 64. Was pretty excited that I did not have to play the Battle Hardened the next day, because I didn't really want to play the Battle Hardened and like spend money to like keep going. I just really wanted to play. I like playing the Premier events as long as I can. Like whenever I'm at a calling or like Worlds or a PT, I'd rather just play day 2 instead of like trying to go about like playing an entirely different tournament. I think the only exception for that is if you think your CC deck specifically is very good, and you went like XO and CC, but you just like bombed, like 0-3'd your draft, right? And then you have to draft in day 2, and you're just like, dude, I just don't even want to draft this set anymore. Like, that's probably the only exception. And then at that point, I'm just like, you probably like, that's just a miss. Like, it's just a miss on like what your preparation for the tournament was, not drafting correctly, right? So I like playing it out. So get to 4-3, get to play it out, and then what I like to call the shitter bowl in round 8 with with me and Trent, the 4-3s. I actually did win the bottom table shitter bowl at this. It was pretty good. And then played so he was playing Dromai, beat him, and then round 8 round 9 I play against another Dromai. Actually had a turn where I triple rain razored. I've never triple rain razored my entire life playing Lexi before, and it was on the endless arrow turn, and I quad attacked him with like, because I had endless arrow in Arsenal, had a rain razors. I kept like another rain razors to have like a double rain razors turn, and I drew the third one, and I was like, yo. So I attack with endless arrow, triple rain razors, pop my snapdragons, and then like load it with a blue, so like I come back, so shoot 10, 10, 10, and then I played Codex of Frailty, got the other endless in my graveyard, and shot for another 10, so it was quad 10, and still had like the Ponder token plus Arsenal for the next turn. I think it went from like 37 to like 12 or something full blocking, and I was just like, oh man. Yeah, I've never triple rainmaker somebody, and I like won the game like 2 turns later, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, this is broken if you draw like that, right? And then round 10, so 2-0 on the day, feeling pretty good. Round 10 I play against Rodrigo Martinez. He was playing Icelander, and I feel pretty good. He was playing a, not Bullander, but he was playing the more arcane build, and I think the game is super close. He gets to play, like, he gets to play the Insidious Chill on turn 0, and we play, he gets a lot of value out of his channels. I think he goes, like, channel on 3 counters, channel on 2 counters, channel on 2 counters. For, like, he played all 3 channels, played 2 Insidious Chills, got all 3 points of value off of both of them, and it was, like, a pretty close game. We get to, like, the end game, and I basically had to present lethal. I have, like, Shock Tremors plus AB1, and I had to present lethal because I'm, like, getting bled down too much. And he just, like, has the block and has the to survive, and then, you know, Storm Shatters kills me with a red spell on the next turn, and I was, what can you do? He played it really close. I think he played it extremely well. Like, I don't know how I could get, yeah, getting triple channeled and, like, double Insidious chilled, and the game was still, like, extremely close, was, just shows, like, this matchup being, like, pretty Lexi favored, unless you play perfectly, which he did, and he got it in the end, so it was really good. You gotta give props to him, because he played it very, very well. And then, round 11, wait, that was round 11, right? Where was round 11? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, where am I? Oh, round 11 I play against T. He's also playing Dromine this weekend. I haven't lost to a Dromine in this tournament, and then I play T. T's on, like, he was on, like, the downward trajectory today. He said he was 0-3 on the day, and I was like, oh man. We played a super close game. You know, I know T. He's a great player, very competent player, and I think I made, like, 1 or 2 mistakes in the game that cost me, and it was, like, super close. Basically, at the end of the game, he has, like, he played triple Rake, and then at the end of the game, he has, like, a whole bunch of Ashwings out, and I actually get it to a point to where I play the 1-for-5, like, Infecting Shot, and then Snapdragons give a blue Bolter Shot to him. So he goes to exactly 2, and he has a Blood Rot, and basically he just has, like, Rabble from Arsenal, and, like, swings all the dragons, and basically I can always survive because I have Tunic block, and basically if I have 4 blocking cards in my hand, and I block with Tunic and my New Horizons, I block 5 attacks, I block 6 attacks, and then I live at 1, and I draw up, and I draw, or if I draw a Popper, I always win 2, and I draw a double Rain Rizzers, and I die exactly to T, but it was a great game. I missed a point of damage early that probably would have gave me extra health to survive, and that definitely mattered in this game as well. So unfortunately, did lose 2 in a row, so I'm 2-2 in the event, and then I play round 12. In the end, I'm 2-2 right there, so I'm playing the last one versus Emery Powell, and he's playing Katsu, and I just had, like, I think the Katsu Lexi matchup is, like, it explains why Lexi is just the only, like, aggro deck you should play in, like, a lot of in this specific format for the last, like, 9 months, because just the efficiency of Lexi is just insane. I'm also playing, like, a lot more ice cards in my list, and I saw my ice quicks early and just, like, never stopped the gas at that point. And, you know, once you're blocking against Lexi, it's super, super hard to come back, and he didn't, like, the one turn where you could have an explosive turn just, like, didn't happen to be like, extremely good, right? And just decided to keep my 6-card hand and come back with, like, an Ice Quake, so he has to block, and the game was pretty much over from that point, and just never let go. So got that one, so went 3-2 on that on day 2 to end 7-5, which unfortunately did not get me into top 32, which was surprising. Unfortunately, I think if I won against T and then won the very last one, I would have made it in, but I ended up 50th after starting 64th, and I have, like, one of the worst tiebreakers, because, yeah, I have one of the worst tiebreakers because I obviously started X3 on this day and then went 3-2, and unfortunately Trent only went 1-4 as well. I was really rooting for this guy. This guy was really nice. Shout out to him. But, yeah, so I ended up 50th. it was pretty close. I think yeah, because if I went to the last one, I'm in like this, probably like the bottom of this 8 pile right here, which is like would have been really cool to see from this, because there's just like a whole bunch of 8s. I don't know if I would have made it into like this like top 32 or not, but I would at least give myself a higher chance, right? So I got that 50th. It was a pretty nice weekend going forward, and yeah, definitely love going to these calling events and these major events. Always really fun, even if you don't have like the results like I did this weekend. You can still like, it's still just a great time to see everybody, and like when you talk with so many people online like at a high level, and then you get to see them at events, just like the camaraderie as well. And you know, special shout out to the card guys and the card culture, bro. These guys are gonna have their drop on October 30th, next Monday actually. Really should get them all the good flesh and blood like hoodies and shirts and hats that they're coming out with. Just like extremely good. Like their designs, they have like a Kano design, and a Katsu design, and a Prism design. This is gonna be extraordinary. I'm buying all of them. They got my seal of approval. I'll definitely link their website down below if you want to see. It comes out next Monday's the drop. Should be out. I think you can pre-order it for like a week or 2 weeks. Don't quote me on that, but on next Monday I would try to allocate some money to buy this clothing, get the good flesh and blood drip. 100% going for that. Hope they do well on that. And then I'm gonna look forward to ProQuest season. So ProQuest season actually started while I was at the calling in Fort Worth, but decided to go to the calling instead because I'd rather play a premier event than play ProQuest, and I'm pretty confident that I will. Out of like the 3-4 ProQuests that I will be going to, I should win one of them. At the very least, I could use a PTI or qualify through, you know, ELO or XP if I really need to, right? So speaking of ProQuest, I would either run this back with like very minor changes of what I wanted to do, or something that I did think about the entire weekend is playing one of the wizards. And one of the wizards specifically that I think was really slept on this weekend was Icelander. Obviously you still have, you know, your bad not like a great Lexi matchup, but you do have a I just think like with the Dromelies playing Tome now, like this Icelander is just so much better, especially Bullander. I would only play Bullander. I don't like the arcane version at all, but I would just play Bullander if I could. Going through, I definitely thought about playing Icelander this past weekend, and I wonder if I would have done as good with this deck or not. I don't know, my matchups are infinitely different with Icelander than Lexi, so it would have been a completely different tournament. But I definitely did feel that like Icelander was a really good pick this weekend that was underpicked and underappreciated. So definitely one of those decks I would look out for. If you don't have a lot of Lexi players locally, I know my locals really doesn't have a lot of Lexi players. There's like maybe like 2 or 3, and that's like if people aren't playing like Azalea or like a different aggro deck instead. So I do think if you do have a lack of like ranger players in your meta, I think you should play Icelander. If you think everybody's just gonna play like Dromai Tome builds, I think Icelander is a sleeper pick, specifically in this ProQuest season. I would just play something like a traditional Bullander list that you've seen an incredible amount of times. That, you know, obviously the metrics could be very different. This is just what I brought to the AG Invitational a while ago. I don't even know. I forgot when this was. Like this was a couple months ago. So yeah, I would just bring like a traditional Bullander list and just be like, hey, I will be decent into this Dromai with like, you know, like 9 to 12 poppers and have a whole bunch of ice cards to disrupt you, and Channel Lake Fissure is just like probably the best ice card in the game and should disrupt you enough. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys good luck in your ProQuest season. Thank you for watching my weekend breakdown, and I'll see you guys next time.